Hello, this is Paul from Management as a Liberal Art. In last week's video, we talked about some of the common claims people make when discussing immigrants in the labor market. What we need to do is to address these claims as incident reports so we can take an approach of a root cause analysis, looking for the anxieties people are experiencing when making these claims, flipping the claims into questions to address those anxieties so we can see if there is any evidence to support these claims that people are making. Feel free to pause the video now to take a look at the claims, questions, and evidence to see if it makes sense to you. If not, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to discuss it. Now, I chose these claims because they are the most relevant in terms of management systems, concepts, and practices we can actually address. And the end result we found is that the root cause of these claims is exploitation as a business model, and that is what we need to address. Addressing anything else only suppresses these symptoms at best. It does not really address the core problems that are causing the issues we are experiencing. Now, this is a very complex issue to tackle, so I introduced the idea of using system thinking analysis to break the problem down into more manageable parts. These parts include outcomes, mechanisms, and leverage points. Basically, the outcomes are the results or what we are trying to accomplish. In this case, we're trying to stop the exploitation of workers. The mechanism, it's how the system produces these results or outcomes, which is the existing pathways or existing systems for exploitation. And the leverage points are where change actually sticks for maximum impact. In this case, the incentives for exploitation. In a nutshell, the way to address these is responsibility, accountability, and performance, which leads into the concept of the social enterprise as a possible solution for addressing exploitation as a business model. Now let's take a quick preview on the concept of the social enterprise and how it builds a functioning society for all.
Now let's take a quick look at how a social enterprise addresses exploitation as a business model and not just treats the symptoms. Now, this is very important. We must make clear that the goal of a social enterprise is never an attempt at utopia. The goal is a functioning society where tensions are managed before they metastasize into scapegoating and institutional breakdown. It reduces scapegoating pressure by removing the conditions that manufacture insecurity. In practice, it does three things well. Number one, responsibility. Attach responsibility to power, which is employer-side reform. If you set the standards, pace, and economics of the work, you also own the labor conditions through your policies and through your contracting chains. Competing on productivity, not vulnerability. It focuses on investing in people that drive productivity rather than minimizing costs related to pay and job quality. Redesign incentives to end exploitation. From an employer perspective, a social enterprise doesn't win by finding the most vulnerable labor it can control. It follows MLA guidelines that make performance sustainable. Design for prevention, not cleanup. Use internal controls to prevent wage theft, safety shortcuts, and gray zone practices before they become the business model. Pay the full cost of employment. Classify workers by the reality of the relationship, not the paperwork. If you direct the work like an employer, you carry the obligations of an employer. Now, the core reason for taking on so much responsibility is that the social enterprise understands exploiting workers is inherently harmful and ultimately self-defeating in the long run. Instead of relying on exploitation, the social enterprise competes on genuine business strengths. It focuses on productivity, quality, and continuous improvement because those are the only advantages that compound and grow over time. People are one of the only appreciating assets in a business. They are not a liability. Think about it. How far can exploitation go? Until the host dies, which in our case is our society. That is not good business. 2. Accountability. Restoring trust via credibility. True accountability does not require maximum penalties, but a system where non-compliance is actively addressed and managed. Leaders lose all credibility, and employees cannot be expected to perform if there is no consistent structure. Businesses must implement the following practices: establish accountability in contracting chains. Ensure accountability is present in all contracting layers, making the primary business responsible for the labor practices of its subcontractors and suppliers. Ensure fast, certain consequences. Implement systems that deliver prompt and predictable consequences for violations, removing incentives for non-compliance. Maintain clear employment standards and conduct real audits. Clearly define employees versus contractor standards and audit to verify compliance with employment laws. Make formal, on-the-book work the default. Establish formal employment relationships as the standard, closing loopholes that allow for informal, unregulated, and exploitative labor. The fundamental principle driving these practices is we cannot build trust if we are not trustworthy. One cannot attempt to hold others accountable if we fail to hold ourselves accountable. A failure to uphold this principle results in a loss of trust and leads the organization down a tyrannical path, ruling through fear instead of authority. The hypocrisy of rules for thee, not for me, is inherently unsustainable. A social enterprise's credibility hinges on its own commitment to accountability, recognizing that consistent enforcement is crucial for a fair market and stopping the rewards of evading responsibility. It's just the right thing to do. 3. Performance. Building the capacity of the knowledge workers. A social enterprise thrives on the exceptional performance of its workforce. This is achieved by providing employees at every level both authority and responsibility for their own work. Make worker voices a performance system. Build structured feedback and problem-solving mechanisms so frontline knowledge improves quality, safety, and output. Following Drucker's philosophy, every role is seen as potentially managerial, which fosters organization agility, flattens hierarchies of control, and minimizes bureaucracy. Crucially, this requires respecting the employee's authority in their area. They are the subject matter experts and must be treated as such. The social enterprise views all employees as paid volunteers, respecting their dignity and contribution, operating from the understanding that the business needs its employees more than the employees need the business. However, this respect is a two-way street. Employees must earn it. Authority is sustained by competence. Competence and expertise demonstrated through high-quality knowledge work are essential for employees to earn authority and responsibility for their own careers. Employees are accountable for their own performance and contribution, making it vital that businesses acknowledge and value their input. The social enterprise is built on reciprocal responsibility. The institution designs for performance, and the workers develop the skills to deliver it. In conclusion, if we treat immigration conflict as a systems problem, the solution isn't a moral lecture or scapegoat, it's institutional redesign, because the outcomes people are reacting to were produced by systems, incentives, and decisions made by management. Drucker's reminder is that results exist outside of the organization. If the results outside are insecurity, failing trust, and a labor market that rewards exploitation, then the institution is failing, no matter what the internal spreadsheet says. So the practical aim here is to build businesses that accept their role as social enterprises, institutions that manage the unavoidable tensions between customer, workers, owners, and community without resorting to vulnerability as a business model. This wraps up part 4. In part 5, we'll define the social enterprise clearly, why it's valuable, and what it looks like in practice without pretending we can engineer a perfect society. So, what do you think? Do you agree with the concepts presented here? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. It always generates a wonderful discussion. Now, if you found this useful, please like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who's tired of the same anti-immigrant arguments. As always, thank you so much for your time and attention. I'll see you next time.